Thank you everyone for joining us for this special event from the ground in Turkey that we organize ELNET and the IDF together in partnership. And thank you to Colonel Gili Shenhar and Lieutenant Shani Echter from the IDF rescue mission in Turkey for taking the time to brief us on the situation on the ground. I will give you the floor in 1 second to start the briefing. And I would like to say to the audience that you can write in the chat if you have questions. So we can have a short Q&A session after the briefing. And we can know who wants to ask a question and give you the floor for it. That being said, Colonel Shenhar, the floor is yours.
Oh, good evening, everybody. My name is Felix Lotan. I'm a lieutenant colonel in reserve in the Israeli Search and Rescue Unit, and I'm employee of Magen David Adom, the National EMS Service. And I'm here in this delegation as the representative of the Israeli EMS Service as part of the medical team of the NRU. So we are here for the past 72 hours, working hard to save lives. And actually, when we started this event almost 4 days ago, and we knew about the temperatures here and what's going on, we did not believe that we'll be able to save lives, but we had always hope that we will. And as we arrived here at the first night, we were already saved 2 people. Since then, until now, we extracted from the rubble 17 people alive from the rubble. I must tell you that this is something that's amazing after 72 hours in this type of event. In search and rescue medicine, you always say that you have a golden 24 hours. If somebody is still alive after 48 hours, this is a big luck. And here, after 72 hours, we already have 17 human lives in our hands, and they're alive, and they're hopefully will be well after they will do from some rehabilitation and everything they need. But this is amazing, and the guys here are working very, very hard. The NRU and the Hofel Command are doing amazing job. You just can't imagine yourself how hard they're working. Their extraction, they're taking around 12, 16 hours on their site in very cold and very rough conditions, in very narrow places, when around people are waiting to find their loved ones, standing around their houses with fire because of the cold. So they making fire to get some heat while our guys are working inside and trying to save whoever they can. So this is something that it's something else. Today, another team arrived, and this is the Israeli hospital, field hospital, with another 220 people that arrived here. So right now we're almost 400 people.
We have more than 500 people here. Israeli units came in here to help and provide medicine and provide assistance and provide the search and rescue abilities in order to try and save as many lives as we can and helping the population here that's in a pretty complicated and rough situation. Like Felix said, the cold is very hard. At night, it gets to less than 0 degrees and it's freezing. And most of the people here have lost their homes and are now living in the streets. And like Felix said, you can walk in the streets here and you can see buildings collapsed completely and hundreds of people standing in the streets just waiting for someone to try to help and try to help them find their loved ones. Some of them who are still in the buildings and maybe alive, maybe not, in us trying to search for them and rescue them from within.
The atmosphere here is very hard. Wherever you go, whatever you see, it's building that collapsed. You see 8 floors building, 8-story building, and a building in front of him again, 8-story building, all on the ground, and people around them outside the building, no light, no electricity, huge traffic problems because of cars, people sleeping in the cars, so they need fuel, so they're going to the fuel station 2 hours, 3 hours to get some fuel. You see the despair in their eyes, but they still have hope, and since they have hope, we have hope as well. And we hope that to the next days of the delegation will be able to save more lives. Certainly the hospital will save more lives because this is their job, will be to take the people that are already injured, the people that need help, those people that have no homes and now can receive more medical treatment here from the team that arrived today. And we will continue the search and rescue mission to try to extract more people as long as we can. This is our task. This is what we want to do. You want to add something?
I think maybe we can start the questions and then we can continue.
So I will give the floor to Aryeh Ben Simchon for the first question. Aryeh, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Yossi, and thank you very much for your wonderful work on the ground there. We are very proud of what you are doing on behalf of the State of Israel and also behalf of the Jewish people. And here it's very moving to hear you from where we are. And we wish you all the success in your very important mission. I would like to ask you, how big is your delegation compared to the other country that also send people to rescue the victims of this terrible earthquake?
I can't tell you exactly, but from what we saw so far, most of the delegations from around the world are around 50 people, 60 people. The largest I saw was around 100, but of course, maybe I didn't saw all the delegations. Maybe there are delegations larger than that, but I don't think there is another 500 people delegation on ground. Certainly not right now. Including the hospital, including the search and rescue team, and including the logistic team, we're more than 500 people on the ground.
And I just want to add on that our delegation specifically came pretty fast. It's been less than 24 hours since the first earthquake that we have already been there, starting to search for people who are underneath the wreckage. So that was very fast. And 2 days later, we got the field hospital here.
And my last question, and leave the floor to the others. You spoke about a field hospital. Is it already working?
No, it will be working in next. It's already working?
Yeah, I have an update on that.
Thanks.
So what happened is they got all the equipment to open a field hospital on the field, and what they found is an abandoned hospital that has water and electricity in the center of the city. So what they did is transformed all of the men and the equipment there, and they're starting to operate it there in the center of the whole situation, because it's going to be a lot more beneficial for the people there. All of our people are now sleeping there, living there, and we're still trying to figure out how we're going to transform all the equipment back and forth. So it's not going to be a field hospital, it's going to be a regular hospital, but in Israeli capacity. And they started working. I was in the operational room a few minutes ago, so they said that they were started working, and now they're starting accepting people.
Oh, good update.
Okay, I would like to give the floor to Larry Hochberg, the founder of the organization. Larry, if you have a question.
What is the main type of work that the field hospital does? Treating all different kinds of injuries, or what exactly does the hospital focus on?
Okay, so they got people working on all kinds of types of injuries, from the easiest ones to internal bleedings and internal fractures, and all kinds of equipment to be able to work in a more complicated situation. They have the ability to make surgeries and provide procedures that are more complicated. For a delegation of the IDF and the search and rescue teams and the home front command units, it's the first time that there's a tooth doctor, dentist for the first time, because they heard that a lot of people had problem with their teeth because of the wreckage. So that's the first. But they have here for almost anything, I would say. Of course, not in the best illustration, because we can't move a hospital as it is, but in all terms of the abilities that the people have here, they have the abilities to do almost everything.
So you are in Turkey or in Syria? Where are you?
We're in Turkey.
You're in Turkey?
Yeah.
And the Turkish government is being very cooperative?
Yeah, the Turkish on the ground are very cooperative. We're working with the Turkish teams all the time. and they're helping us with everything they need and with everything we need. We're working a very good relationship on the ground here.
It's also that the way that we rescue people and try to locate people is a system that we're working with the civilians here. We're getting information from them about where did they live, how did they live, who lived with them, and then we're starting to map out a building and figure out who are we searching for and where are we searching for him and where he can be, and then we have engineers who are making an illustration of how the building used to look, so we can go in the most precise way inside, so our people and the people inside don't get even more hurt. But we have a very good cooperation with the people here, the civilians and the forces on the ground. We have some equipment that they don't, so sometimes they're asking for our help in specific cases. Like we have canine dogs, search dogs, who are very helpful, and we have all kinds of tools who are also very helpful that they don't necessarily have. Not all of the teams here, also the teams that came from other countries, don't necessarily have the instruments that we do. So we're all working together in the one main goal to save lives. So there's a very good cooperation.
And we're very happy that all the various agencies are working together, Israelis also, as a team. And that makes us, at least at ELNET, that there's combined effort to do it together and get it done correctly. It's very, very encouraging.
Yes, it's incredible.
Incredible, right word. Thank you for doing it. I'm sure others may have something to add, but it's really miraculous. If you have 500 people on the ground, that's extraordinary.
Okay, we'll give the floor now to Lee Rosenbluth, the National Director of ELNET. Lee.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your service. I'm just curious on 2 points. You've set up this field hospital, and I assume it's a different location than the centralized hospital, so you're closer to the action or you're more available. I'm curious, is that field hospital being manned just by Israeli physicians and staff, or are other countries' doctors who are on the ground there using the facility as well?
Both of us are currently not in the field hospital itself. We're working from the home base of where we all of the logistics of the delegation is. So we're not sure. From what I know, it's only the Israeli team, but I can check and we will get back to you on that.
I can tell you that in previous delegations that they worked with the field hospital, like in Nepal or in Haiti, and if there were other teams that arrived and looked for a place, many times we cooperated with them together. Sometimes we integrated them in our hospitals. I know this for sure from Haiti and from Nepal, that there were teams that worked with us, but it depends on the situation. It depends what's going on, because this hospital was supposed to be field hospital on the ground, and exactly as Shani said, it is now inside a local hospital. So we don't really know how they integrated it, and they just started working. So let's give them some time, and then we'll know what's going on.
My second question to that is, with all the different countries there helping out in different languages and all sorts of things you have to deal with in the weather and the landscape, how is it all being coordinated on the ground? Like, who's the central command that is keeping everybody, coordinated?
After the chaos that was in Haiti, earthquake, the United Nations decided to build a system that's called INSARAG system. The INSARAG system is a coordination system that coordinates all search and rescue units. There are basically 2 systems like this. One is the INSARAG and one is the EMT. The INSARAG coordinates the search and rescue effort, and the EMT coordinates the medical effort, the field hospitals. And it is divided according to the type of team you can send. There are light teams that they don't have heavy equipment, and they can stay only a few days on the ground, and heavier teams. Our team, the Israeli Search and Rescue Unit, is level 3, the highest level on the INSARAG, and it was tested by the United Nations, and we are qualified INSARAG team. So we're working with the INSARAG Operation Center, and they're giving us the areas we are working in, and they're giving other delegations their areas. So everything is very, very coordinated by the INSERAG team.
I can say that we started our delegation just Studio had worked on the ground. We started our delegation and we got assigned to a specific area. So we knew that we have to get to a specific area. So that's why all of our forces drive to that area. Our base was created near that area, and all of our forces are working at that area, and the hospital is in that area. So we can all work together, and all of the Israeli delegation is close to one another, because in the end, Turkey is a very large country, and because of all of the traffic, a 3-hour drive from the airport to this location took us 8 hours, and the traffic is getting worse. So we are all stationed very close to one another, but we meet other forces on the ground, because in the end, we are specifically working in an area that has a lot of building collapses, and it's a very, very damaged town now. So there's a lot of forces working simultaneously on that city.
Thank you. So now I would like to give the floor to Shirley Sanders for a question. Shirley, please.
Excuse me. Has it been decided not to send a team to Syria?
Wait, I can't find you. Well, regarding to that, I can just say that it's more of a political matter. It doesn't really have anything to do with us. And we haven't been asked, the Syrian people, from what I know, but it's a lot more of a governmental diplomatic issue than it is our issue.
Anyway, every delegation for search and rescue that's being sent, an EMT, since it's certified by INSERAG and by EMT, we need to be working with them, and we're sending them our support that we are willing to support, and they're giving us destination. So it's part of the deal. The Syria need to ask for support, and we need to say we can support, and the INSERAG will tell us where to go. In this event, we've been sent to Turkey.
Okay, it was just that I had heard that Syria had asked, but I knew that it was a political problem. It could be a risk for the team to go there. That's why I asked.
Okay, thank you. I would like to give the floor to Rami Treat for a question. Rami, please.
All right, my question is, I know you saved 17 lives. How many people have you picked up from the rubble that are not alive?
A lot. I cannot tell you the numbers, but a lot.
A lot, mean 50, 100?
I don't know. I don't know.
We're trying to not keep track of the people that we lost, and more focus on the good, and more focus on the people that we're able to save, because that's our purpose here. And the situation is already hard enough, and as you heard in the news, there's a lot of deaths in the area, and it's past the 11,000. So it doesn't really matter if we prefer to focus on the good and what we can and manage to do, and then instead of focusing on extracting our energies and something that we can't help with.
How would you compare the situation you find here in Turkey compared to other places you've been in with other earthquakes?
I have been at Nepal, and I think that the disaster here is worse. I actually never been in a disaster area that wide, with so many high buildings that collapsed. We're talking about 7-8-story buildings that collapsed in one neighborhood. You can say you're going around this neighborhood and all the buildings are on the ground. The situation here is very bad, and this is a huge disaster. In Haiti, it was close to what we see right here, but different, because this city is much more than Port-au-Prince.
I can say that for me, it's my first delegation, but from what I've heard and from what I'm hearing from people who used to have other delegations, and also been to the last delegation to Turkey in 1999, that the situation here is very severe, and that last time that they were here, it's been much better than the situation right now. This situation right now is it's very bad.
How long do you think you'll be staying in Turkey before you go home?
We don't know for sure, because it changes in according to how much effort can we do and continue doing, and the situation that we'll see. We don't know.
Thank you.
For as long as it takes, and for as long as it takes.
Now that we have one question by Sam Epstein. Sam, if you can ask your question.
Hello, I was able to be with a military team in a disaster here in the United States, and
In Miami?
Pardon me?
In Miami?
In Ohio, and what left the deepest impression on me was the children, the faces of the shock on the children. I will never forget it. Could you please share some of your reactions to how this is affecting the children in this country, and just make this thing real to us? Only somebody who's been in a disaster like this has even a glimmering of what you all are going through. I have a little bit of a taste. I didn't come upon the dead. You are. It's unbelievable what you all are doing. The Lord bless you for what you're doing. Thank you.
It affects everyone. It affects the children. It affects the adults. We see young children sitting with their parents or grandparents or brothers or neighbors near collapsed buildings next to a fire in a -5 Celsius. So it's very, very cold. You can see they're very, very sad, but everybody here are very, very sad. I can tell you that we extracted one 12-year-old on the first day, and he actually was very, very vital. And so as we took him out, his grandfather was waiting outside, and he saw his grandfather. He was a little bit shocked, and he ran to him. He had no shoes on him because the earthquake was in the middle of the night. He probably was in his bed when it happened. And as we took him out from the building, he ran to his grandfather on the rubbles. You remember that?
I wasn't there.
He wasn't there at the time. It was our first rescue the midnight we arrived. So, and you can see smiling, but people here in shock, and the children in shock, and people are sad. This is a very, very, very big disaster here.
Thank you.
We have one last question, I believe, by Yaron Toren. Please, Yaron.
I'm from the Jerusalem municipality, from the strategic department. I'm not sure this is a question for Shani and her partner from MADA, but are you asking, and is there a way cities can help the delegation, meaning Jerusalem or Tel Aviv, for example, rather than the state of Israel? Do you know of any kind of help that could be delivered by cities?
We don't know any kind of program like that. I think that's more of the administration of foreign affairs. It doesn't really have to do anything with us, but I think that you can try, and I think if there's any way that you can, like the country and any country and every person can help in that situation to civilians of Turkey, that would be great because they need the help.
I have a last question here. I will ask the question. So the question is, how do locals see you as Israelis coming to help them? First of all, do they understand that you are from Israel? And what is their reaction?
As you can see, I'm wearing Magen David Adom, Red Star of David on my uniforms, and everybody sees that I'm from Israel. They can't miss it. Basically, it's all over my uniforms anywhere, and they greeting us very, very well. They're smiling to us. They asking us where we're coming from, and when we tell Israel, they're smiling back. Many of the local EMS teams coming to me and ask me, tell us a little bit about your service and how it works in Israel. When they see our soldiers, they're happy to see them. They'll give them food on the street, water, Jews, and you can see that they're very, very happy to see us here. Definitely very, very happy.
I don't think that, I think that the beauty of the entire situation is that it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter what you did and what you do, it's the fact that you're willing to come and help. And I think in this time of crisis that, first of all, they would take any kind of help, but I think that's the most beautiful side of Israelis and the beautiful side of the IDF, that is willing to go this far for people who are not from Israel and from all over the world. This is the Home Front Command 39th delegation all over the world. And I think this is also the one with the most lives saved that we ever had.
Well, thank you very much to both of you. I know that it was hard to organize, to give us half an hour of help for this briefing. So thank you very much for your time, and we're going to let you go back to save lives. And really, we hope that you will succeed to save many other lives in the next hours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.